Welcome, everyone, to our meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, our regular monthly meeting, which takes place on the second Thursday of each month at 6:30 p.m. We're here today at the City Hall in Greenfield, 14 Fort Square. Chair statement. This meeting is being recorded by the ZBA. If anyone else is recording at this time, would they please let me know? Anybody else recording? In accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, subsection 20G, no person shall address a meeting of the public body without permission of the chair. I am the chair. And all persons shall, at the request of the chair, be silent. No person shall disrupt the proceedings of a meeting of a public body. If after clear warning from the chair, a person continues to disrupt the proceedings, the chair may order the person to withdraw from the meeting. And if the person still does not withdraw, the chair may authorize a constable or other officer to remove the person from the meeting. So that's not going to be a problem tonight. Our first applicant has called in. What we do is we set up our meetings where we determine times precisely so that we can let the public know that we're here on time. So we can't start another one until we reach that time. So we're waiting for the first applicant, who I'm hoping will be here soon. So in the meantime, I'm going to conduct a little business with the board. So why don't we approve the minutes?
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes for the March 19th, 2026 GBA Board of Appeals meeting.
Okay, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let it be noted, the motion carried unanimously. I got rid of 30 seconds. These next one, it's
The next one's at 6:30. I think you had me give about 6:35 or so.
Dear God, if anybody. If you all want to talk among yourselves. There's other. It's. Some of these. I think they'll be right into the record.
There's it's about here. Others that I don't see.
Oh,
Yeah, like these comments here from like the different departments. Memos.
yes, those you're gonna go. Well,
They
you don't
weren't-
have-
I haven't seen them, so that's why.
You didn't, so that wasn't like that.
Which ones? The city staff comments?
Yes.
Yes, but are they?
Those were emailed.
Yeah, I know, but I.
Yeah, so.
I do have this.
So that's just for one.
But yeah, I know, but I just figured
Okay,
there's a lot of paper flying.
yeah,
around.
Star was the first
Star
agenda item,
Wars.
that makes sense, yeah.
But there. This is your summary, and were there comments from the other departments on Cullen Road? There's a fire
Not
department,
from building, from fire department, there is the DPW, no comment.
nothing from the building inspector.
Correct. The building inspector is planning to join tonight too by Zoom. Sure.
Cullen Road? Yeah, you ready to go?
I'm waiting on one person.
Okay.
Okay.
There's one seat over here. There's a couple seats over here. Thank you.
Well, what if there's people need to sit here?
Okay. I think we should pass.
Holding chairs right
Yeah,
there as
let's
well.
do that. What's this room, 90 people?
35. Doesn't look like we're.
Yeah. They're not doing 4 minutes, I'm gonna move to the next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, 37.
You know, you so. Yeah, last time the outside.
Yeah. Enjoy the moment. This is the first time all day I haven't done anything, so I'm enjoying it.
That's after the meeting.
What?
Meditation. That's good. Steve by the bell. Everybody here? You need to talk to him for a minute?
No, we set up.
Absolutely. All right, and we'll, how long will it take to set up? If I may ask.
I have three finger patients. We had an accident one night. This is the first spot of the sale. You see?
Yeah.
People here might be, maybe over behind Mark.
Good evening. Really, thank you for your patience.
Hold on a second. I have to, there's some formalities that we have to do
Yeah.
before we can speak. Thank you. I'm glad you're ready though. All right, so we're gonna move to the first matter on our agenda now, everyone could be. And, could you read into the record, the applicant's, request?
Yes, application of David Kinsella for property located at 21 Coleraine Road, Assessors Map 44, Lot 2, which is located in the General Commercial GC zoning district for a special permit pursuant to sections 200-6.5E and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for reduction of 2 parking spaces from the required number.
Thank you. Sitting on the panel, you're not, sorry, excuse me, Chuck, you are not sitting.
Eric Green. Mark Maloney.
Debbie Jolks.
And David Singh, sorry. Okay, and who's here for the applicant?
I'm David Kinsella. I'm the architect representing the Mader Group.
Okay, is the applicant here in any capacity?
We have Ray Condi. He's
Okay,
and Dominic. I'm the boy. He's
okay. All right,
my assistant tonight.
okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing I want to do is just kind of give you an overview. And then I'll go quick through the building so that you can kind of get what's going on. So this is Coleraine Road down here.
Sorry, go ahead.
And our main entry is here. And basically the building is surrounded by pavement. And what we're proposing to do is we're going to build an addition to the rear, this beige area here, and we'll restripe the parking lot. We're going to put in some bio retention areas. And so it's a combination of a larger addition here for the first floor to add lobby space. The building doesn't have a proper lobby as a hotel. It's going to become Hilton Express Hotel, the DoubleTree now. No, not Hilton.
City Express by Marriott.
Marriott, sorry. Thanks, Ray. And so right now, the main entrance is in the back of the building to the existing facility. We're proposing a turnaround drop off here, but we believe the main entrance will still be here. This is going to be more of a token entrance, if you will. And the building, I have the red bands of the retention areas for the bio retention areas. The gold is the dumpster location presently, in the future, hopefully. The dark gray is existing, will not be touched, existing rooms primarily. And then the light gray is a remodeled area, colored and important because it's to go through the building. The building itself consists of 2 floors. It has a brick roof on it. And it's made up of, I'll just show you. Got all my stats with me, so I get a read. So you have an existing room count of 59. We're going to propose room count of 63. That's what's triggering the increase in parking as a number of rooms we'll have. So basically what's going to happen on the on the first floor, where the gray area is on the existing building is the remodeled areas of the building. Coleraine Road is at the bottom, just to give you some context. Then on the first floor, again, remember the colors, the dark gray is existing to remain, areas just getting remodeled. There's no increase. There'll be an increase in handicaps, bedrooms, kings and queens. The beige area is the new addition. The gray area is existing that will be remodeled. And basically on this floor, we're adding 1 room. And then on the second floor, you'll see we're adding 6 rooms. To do the second floor, we're losing a net of 2 rooms. So we'll be adding, so we're counting on this to be the main entry, but there's also an entry here. Reception will be located back here, so you have to walk through a dining area with a, it's like a breakfast kitchen, a small kitchen to serve. And then these will be 2 modified rooms in the future. Right now, we don't have any accommodations. Ray, if I'm getting my statistics down, please, you know the building better than I.
And obviously the kitchen will be good for continental breakfast and things like that. We'll probably comply with obviously fire department.
It's not a full-blown commercial kitchen per se. And then on the second floor, the gray area is again remodeled. Here's where we have the bedrooms we're gonna lose. And then we're adding 5 here and 1 on the downstairs. So we gotta basically adding 7, taking away 2 existing, net change of 5 bedrooms. So just the big issue, parking. So the building will be, all the exterior will be refinished in Marriott colors. And their color scheme, not our choice of color schemes. I didn't bring those because I didn't think that was important to the presentation. So we're proposing to restrike the entire lot and rework this area. We're not gonna touch any of the landscaping except for around the building, but we're doing the bio retention areas. I can take questions, I can answer. The city had some comments, I can answer them ahead of time if you'd like. And fire was concerned about access around the building. You can see that I have a 25-foot lane here, 14-foot lane here, multiple entry points to the site. So I don't anticipate that there's any issue with fire. DPW had no issues at all with the project. It's planning. And planning was primarily concerned about the parking and the number of people using the facility. So what I'm told is at peak is 6 people, and that's the 7 to 3 a.m. shift. And then on shift 2, which is 3 to 11,
So you know, you talk about staff.
Yeah, I was wondering, but go ahead.
there can be as many as 4, but usual is 1 to 2 people on that second shift. And then the overnight shift is 2 people. So that makes us required to have 2 spaces for 2 spaces. So, and then the number of rooms we're proposing is 63. Your bylaw says 1 per room. So that's where you get to 63. So we're short to 65. And I guess between the time we submitted the application, there's been some tweaking of the design, particular parking planning was very thorough in reviewing the parking. We're gonna need 1 additional parking space than we applied for. We need 3, not 2. So I want to make that clear to the board tonight. And we're getting the new layout in a combination of 90-degree spots, 45 and 60-degree spots. And we're gonna meet the Mass Architectural Access Board code for vans and parking for the number we have here, but what we're proposing. Snow storage is primarily the same. It's around the perimeter on these strips of land. There's a shed that we're removing in order to pick up 2 compact spaces up at the top here, which would be the, I guess it's the west part of the plan if you have it available to you. We'll have to rework some drainage in this area. We'll do a full set of drawings for the civil. It's a storm drain system. There's an existing easement running through the back, right through here. It's a water easement, I believe, or it says sewer easement, but I believe it's a drainage easement. I don't know if you know what's exactly in the easement.
I do know.
I think it's a drainage easement.
I believe it is all drainage, so, but
Yeah.
the parking lot, the way it is, yeah.
I think there's information from the city on that. All right, do you have a, is that,
Yeah, it's pretty much it.
In the stormwater management plan, indicated there's gonna be a maintenance requirement for stormwater system. Is the hotel chain gonna take care of that, or
Of course, we can take care of you guys with the questions.
has that been done in the past?
To my knowledge, because I've only been in my position, I would say for the last 2 years, and as you know, we were a migrant shelter for quite a long time. To my knowledge, I do not believe it has been taken care of, but we are fully contracted with a civil engineer for all of this planning, so that definitely is on our list of things to do.
We're discussing that with the city council.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course, of course.
We have to design the rework drainage and then the passive retention areas will pick up some of the waters. We're gonna remove plants around the building, which are small trees that are in really bad shape. So to get the drainage in, so it takes the pressure off of the system.
It's foliage season is the peak season. This area. What do you anticipate as an occupancy rate during September and October?
I would say about 85%. I would say that would be realistic. Obviously, you have your spur of the moment where you would be at 100%, as any hotel would be. But I would say really in those peak seasons would be about 85% occupancy.
I noticed the kind of rebate city made about parking plan if you have full occupancy. What do you do with the accessory? What's it?
What we had discussed is, management would instruct employees to take Uber to the site, and then they'd pay for the Uber for the employees. That would be a contingency plan.
I know when the hotel was operational, I don't ever remember in the last 4 years ever having a party. Not that saying it would not arise, but in my experience, it is.
Hopefully we'll have.
I hope so too.
Any other questions?
I have a question. In the, engineering, stormwater management plan, there's a comment here about, under low impact development design strategies, section 3, section A, it says the site is densely developed infill with existing urbanized area. Future retail areas have been included in the development plan in addition to the initial use of a portion of the building as a drive-through coffee shop. So can you speak to that? I don't see that.
We don't
anywhere.
have a coffee shop. We don't have a drive-through.
Is there a reason why that's listed in the?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's an errata that he didn't add it out of the. There's not a drive-through, there's not one
Added.
being requested. There's just a continental breakfast that's gonna be added, it doesn't exist today.
She's gonna say, nope. All right, I want to just get a little clarity. Our instructions were that you need 64 spaces, but you only have 62 spaces. Then you mentioned something about an extra space. Does that mean that you're now asking for a special permit to reduce it by 3 rather than by 2?
Yes,
So in order to do that, our code asks us to answer a series of questions. So I'm going to ask, or statements. So I'm going to ask those statements to you, and maybe you can help so that it would be easier for us when we deliver. Before I do that. Currently, what is the ratio of what is needed by our code and what you actually have there right now? Is there a gap?
yeah, the 3 is the gap.
So the gap is the same now?
I'm sorry, we believe, if I base what's there now against the code today,
Yes.
there's a gap of 2.
2. All right, so number 1, the existing parking areas constitute the most reasonable method of providing parking for the building and will adequately provide for the proposed use. So that's your representation that even though you're 3 spaces down,
Yes,
no other land is available as a practical matter for parking purposes. Now, I wondered about parking on the street, but I was told today that maybe that's not possible. Have you tried any other, so the Uber is your answer? You haven't tried contacting any of others?
we have not.
Anybody to help
We
you
have
out?
not, but we have discussed that. Because I do know the Hampton Inn that's behind the hotel does use the parking of the 99 as well.
See, I think the reason that we get to do this, the parking stuff is, and why it's in our code is because of safety. And we want to make sure that your customers aren't parking at the Big Y shopping area.
Mhm.
Because they can't find a space and crossing the street, things of that nature. I think if you could park right on Shelburne Road, that'd be fine. But I've been told that maybe you can't do that. So I would like to see that if there's going to be somebody who's going to suffer from this decision, it would be the employees that don't get the parking spaces, not the customer.
Right,
Right, so
that's why we offered the Uber option.
public safety will not be compromised. So again, that's our concern. A reasonable alternative design is proposed. So did you made this is your best attempt you're representing to get as many spaces as you can.
Oh, yeah, we spent several months, I'd say several weeks on trying different
And
plans.
it's really important that you have the front edge, the soft entrance there. That's kind of a Marriott, that's their,
They're the ones driving
that's their
that
logo.
Specifically for the City Express brand, it's very, very hard because we have to meet both needs. We have to meet the town's needs and then we have to meet Marriott's needs because of contractual obligations, you know.
Okay.
Because trust us, if we weren't mandated to do it by Marriott, we wouldn't be doing it.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Because we're coming in here, right now, all the parking's lined up across the front, so we're displacing these other spaces.
That you could at least fit through basically.
Yeah,
All right, you feel like you have it under control if it's fully filled. You feel like all the customers
I do.
will.
I do.
All right, those are my questions. Yes, go ahead.
I can't see it from here, but could you talk about the handicap parking and accessibility?
have the vans here and the other one's really good. Here. So this is the accessible route into the building. It's
Okay,
actually at the front, they're getting the front door. Come in and there's
three handicap spaces, adequate for the number of rooms that you're renting out.
I believe it is when we did the calculation initially.
Okay.
It wouldn't change the count anyway. I mean, I have my van here, so I have my loading side over here. So if I were to designate this a handicap, my count still stayed the same. We're adding an elevator. I didn't mention that too. So we're bringing the building into compliance, actually. We have all the required bedrooms we need to satisfy AAB. We have the elevator we're adding, the entries. We'll have the electronic locks if that's required.
Fire suppression and fire alarm as well. We've already contracted with an engineer on that and have it pretty much phase one complete.
And we need the bed shakers for the people, that are deaf or blind.
To the record first, or do I go?
I think we've usually read these in first.
You gotta be to the record. Any other questions from the board?
Chris has been 6 months.
All right, before we go, I'm gonna do the opposite. So is there anybody here for this project? Anybody online for this project? Wants to say anything? Okay, good. All right, so now what we do is we read into the record things that have come to the board. Make it part of the public record.
Do you want me to read the entire memo from Ella?
Why don't you highlight?
Okay. So to the zoning board of appeals, a memo from Ella Wise, Director of Planning and Development dated May 12th, 2026. Review comments, proposed reduction in parking spaces at 21 Coleraine. Recommendation was that if the board was inclined to approve the application, the department recommended that we make the following inquiry of the applicant. What the proposed parking strategy would be if all the spaces were occupied, which David did ask those questions and they provided us their plan. In addition, a summary of the special permit application is it was under consideration to include a reconfigured entrance and lobby, a 2-story building addition in the rear, to add 5 additional hotel rooms and shift in on-site vehicular pad. And based on that, it just comments about the fact that the hotel is a facility that's allowed by right in the GC zoning district. It lists what the general parking requirements are, and that they need 1 space for each bedroom plus 3 spaces for each 200 square feet of floor area available for meetings and functions, and 1 space for each of the 4 employees, which resulted in the need for 64 parking spaces. And where do we come up with the 65 that were needed?
60.
Because it says 64.
63 per room. And then.
And then 1 space for every 4 employees.
It's 1.5 is what is it 1? I thought it was
Here it
1.5.
reads 1 space
For every 4.
for every
But
4.
6 at the max, so it's 1.
Yeah.
6, okay, yeah, all right, thank you. Sorry for that. It then just goes through and it actually lists out what all the sections are of 200-6.5. We've got 6.5. And it just talks about in reviewing why the things to consider and why we would allow a reduction. Some of them are based on the existing parking area. That they're bringing the parking areas into conformity with the requirements of the section and making sure that public safety isn't compromised for the questions that they've asked. There was also a question about snow removal, and it says that the snow removal will remain unchanged with storage of plowed snow on landscape areas in the front and side yards as shown on 1-1. There was a review of the landscaping, and the proposed project is enhancing the existing screening and landscaping by retaining all the existing trees around the perimeter and replacing on the building with a bioretention area and adding new plantings. And with those changes, they will still meet all of the requirements for the internal landscaping. And then stormwater and low impact development. There are no new connections to the municipal stormwater system, nor an increase in paved surfaces. As explained by the applicant in sheet C1-1, roof runoff from the proposed building shall be disconnected from the existing drainage system and directed to on-site stormwater management systems. The bioretention areas within landscaping along the building provide the low impact development stormwater management features. And then at the end, there's a review of the dimensional requirement setbacks, and the proposed project will include an addition in the rear of the building that will not encroach on the required 25-foot rear setback. There for lighting, there are existing light poles for the parking areas and no new lights are being proposed. And a comment that any proposed signage above and beyond the maximum requirements of the zoning ordinance would require a special permit from the Board of Appeals. But they have stated that they were going to follow.
Any other
Yep,
correspondence?
Yep, there is one from Alex Cooley, captain of the fire department, and this is dated May 12th of 2026. And the fire department has the following comments regarding the special permit application above for 21 Coleraine Road. Confirm that any changes to the current parking configurations will not create obstructions that do not comply with 527 CMR 1-00, chapter 18.2, fire department access. Please let me know if you have any additional information.
So you're representing us, so that's in our, the fire chief, fire department. You represent us, so you're compliant with that.
I think yes. I checked it, actually.
Okay.
101.
Right. Okay.
And then the final memo was just from the DPW, and there were no comments or proposed, and there were no other departments that commented.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Comments from the applicant? Okay, so what we're going to do tonight, we have a busy schedule. But we will decide this tonight, but we won't decide it right now because we're going to take the other, the other hearings. So it's going to be a little while, so you can stick around, you can go and come back and whatever you can do. But we will decide tonight. And you don't have to stay if you want to hear, watch out.
We face have a lot of competitors if you want to have that. Some questions.
There might be some questions.
Yeah.
But you will be the first one that we deliberate on once we get to that.
Am I okay to leave this in?
Please. Okay, again, thank you for your patience. Applicants expected to be heard at 6:45. So, whoever that is, so what I did was, I asked that there be two permits, you're sharing the same space.
Yes.
So that if either one of you stopped, then it wouldn't hurt the special permit. It's special permit for the vote, I don't know, I can actually. Okay. That's what we do. So we're gonna read the, who's going into the, everyone is, we have a name first, you can both sit there, please.
Okay.
And then they'll give us an explanation, the second one will go.
Great, thank you.
Can you spare that one?
Yes, I can.
Just not about.
Before I read the application, can you pronounce the name for me?
Nigrosh, low Nigrosh. Boring.
Good to go?
Yes, please.
All right.
Just read the first one and then we'll take it. Read the second one and we'll take it.
Okay.
They're different, so I'm not gonna take notes.
That's okay. Application of Nigrosh Services LLC for property located at 21 Mohawk Trail, Unit 18, Assessors Map 49, Lot 26, which is located in the General Commercial CC zoning district for special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.7 and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for a lactation clinic for nursing parents.
Sitting on the panel are
Eric Green.
Mark Maloney,
Debbie Jokes?
David Sinner. Okay, and the applicant is here.
Yes,
Introduce yourself again.
my name is Lo Nigrosh, or Lori Nigrosh.
And where do you live?
I live in Athol.
Okay. And what do you plan to do? What do you plan to do with the property?
So I'm an international board certified lactation consultant on IBCLC. I've had a private practice for the last 5 years, mostly doing in-home visits where I travel to people and provide in-home insurance covered lactation care for families struggling with milk supply, latching, pumping, with, anywhere from the time a baby is born until they leave. And I am now hoping to open a clinic in Greenfield so that I can see more people. They can come to me, so I can kind of staff patients a little better. I'll still do some home visits, but I would like to have a space where I can see people as well. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Pretty simple. It's on the top level, the very corner of the building facing.
This year is facing.
Mhm.
That's where it is. Since the road.
Yeah, and so these walls are actually windows, so when they're coming up from 91.
So we're sharing the space, but I have one big space of 4 nurses.
So it's not an overlap, it's not like certain hours you do your thing, certain hours you don't.
We probably will actually, but we have our separate spaces so that if there was overlap, it would be. He has a patient room, I have a patient room, we have a shared thing.
And you mentioned in your application for medical wastage.
No, I mean, it might be like baby diapers.
Different kind of.
Right, right.
All right, any questions from the board?
In terms of appliances.
Mhm.
And
So for lactation care, I have lots of breast pumps, phalanges, which connect to the breast pump. I have a sanitizer to sanitize equipment in between, and a scale, like a big fancy scale.
in terms of delivery or what's being covered in that snow, it's buried.
Right.
Days of the week, hours of the day, what would it entail?
So right now it'll just be 1 day a week that I'm seeing people there, and then the rest of my visits will be still in-home visits.
Think of the application with that.
2 days a week, sorry, Mondays and Fridays. Yeah. So it's possible that people will come to me 2 days a week. I'm sorry, we discussed multiple iterations.
I don't want, I don't know about the rest of the board feels, but so, I mean, you want us to permit only a certain amount of hours, or do you have a maximum amount of hours and that you would like the permit to speak to? And
I'd like to be able to
there
grow.
hours and days of the week. So days of the week would be, you would do it on the weekends first.
I could. Yeah.
And time of day,
I mean, generally I work, typical work hours, 8 to 5. If I'm working outside of those hours, I'm usually going to people in my house. Like if they need a late night visit, they're not going to for that.
any other questions? All right, where do we get in? Yeah, so that's your presentation. Now let's read the second, here.
Sure. Application of tax mobility for property located at 21 Mohawk Trail, Assessors Map 49, Lot 26, which is located in the General Commercial CC zoning district for special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.7 and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for a prosthetic and orthotic clinics for people with disabilities.
Sitting on that panel are
Peter Wozniak.
Eric Green.
Mark Maloney.
Debbie Jokes.
David Simmons. Okay, who's here for that?
Hi there.
Surprise. And your name is?
My name is Oliver Max Nagrash. I go by Max. Hence the Max Mobility. So I am an ABC certified prosthetist orthotist. I've been in the industry about 11 years. And what we're proposing is to open an independent O&P clinic in this space. Right now, there is no orthotic or prosthetic provider in Greenfield. There was in Montague and they closed down last year. So this is an underserved market. And people with mobility challenges, amputees, travel is difficult. And so right now, Greenfield residents are traveling either to Northampton or Springfield or Leominster, which is a burden on there. So we are hoping to open an independent clinic here to service this area. Now the density in this area is not enough for a full-time clinic. And so our business model is partially on the road, partially in the clinic. So we will be seeing people at their homes, at nursing facilities as well. But the payers, specifically Mass Health, requires that you have a physical location open 30 hours per week. So we'll be open a minimum of those 30 hours once we get to that stage in our business planning. And we're planning on doing that on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 7 to 6. So prosthetics and orthotics is kind of a big area, big kind of swath of care. Orthotics is won't be doing any fabrication, only modification. So basically all of our orthotic devices are sent out to be made. We are proposing that we fabricate some prosthetic devices in-house, and that has to do with turnaround time, cost of delivery, things like that. So I have a little bit of a sample here. So this is a basic prosthesis for a Baloney amputee, foot, pylon, and the socket itself. So the socket itself is the only part that we would be making. The rest are assembled. And it's a process where we take a cast of the person's residual limb, we modify it in plaster. Then we will make a temporary socket for fitting and alignment, where we can make changes and adjust based on their gait pattern. And then we turn that into a definitive, which is a laminate material. With a clinic, we are not fabricating for other people. We're not selling these. It's per individual patient. So everything is custom. And it's very low volume as a result of that. So we're anticipating, fabricating about one socket per week once they get up to speed. So it's low volume, low impact kind of a process. I don't know if you guys want to pass this around or look at it at all, in case you've never held one before. But that's sort of what we're talking about. And I know that we did have some questions and concerns from various departments. So I don't know if you'd like me to go over those now or wait until the meeting.
I just think this space could be used.
Yeah. So here we have just a open space. So the place for acceptance here. And then we have those two areas which are closed off to the rest of the clinic. There's a workshop and a patient room. The patient room is larger because we have to have parallel bars for gait training. People don't have that.
It's a really big.
That's really big.
This is what you manufacture.
Yep.
So it's.
Here.
I'm one of his
How'd you get a
patients,
lump on
and
it?
I wear a prosthetic as well, so I have one too. Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
Sir, you don't show on the diagram what the outside space is. Is the access accessible for handicap?
Yeah, so we are planning no external changes to the property at all. There are handicap accessible, there is handicap railed and accessible parking. Entrance is all ADA compliant. So this is part of the reason why we picked this space is because it's very low requirements for notification.
There's an elevator?
So we don't need an elevator because there's no internal changing between floors. It's external access to
But
both
there is no
floors.
elevator at the site.
There is no elevator at the site. There's one outdoor stairway that goes in between, and then there's parking on the higher level and the lower level, and so, there's a ramp, driveway in between.
So, so I'm trying to imagine, you're building something in there, so, I don't want my imagination to go too far. What's gonna be in the space? So what kind of machines are gonna be in there? What kind of noise they're gonna make?
Yeah,
What kind of odors are they gonna give off?
yeah.
Those kinds of little first.
So in terms of machinery, the basic requirements that we have is we need an oven for thermoforming. So we heat up plastics and then we form them. We need a vacuum system to apply, negative pressure for the lamination process. We need a grinder and then ancillary systems, dust collection, air purification, monitoring systems. And so, it's a small space. We don't have, mills. We don't have, giant, production systems. It's a pretty straightforward, simple process. Most of our molding is done in plaster, which is, non-flammable and very safe to use overall. And then once we have that mold in the form, we're basically forming plastics and then it's holding the top of that. So in terms of air quality and smells and everything like that, our process uses non-hazmat and a very low VOC product. So the laminate itself falls a organic compound. So that's basically, the smell and the vapors that you get when you're using certain items. So the fabrication process is actually very low impact in terms of odors. Modification to existing product, we do use glues, adhesives, solvents. So the biggest one is Barge, which is a contact cement. It's available for household use. It's not commercial or anything like that. And solvents associated with that. Mostly what we use is acetone, denatured alcohol, and like a citrus-based. And so I can outline those. I have them written down, the main products that we use. In the facility itself, or in that modification room, we have dust collection for any grinding activities. And then we also have a secondary air purification system, which will remove any remaining VOC compounds. So we're not expecting any odor even in the next room. That's part of what we try to do because we have patients. So we don't want to run off patients based on the scent from that patient. You also asked about noise, and so I did take some noise level readings throughout the office. So I can pass around versions of that if you'd like. So I highlighted a couple of things here. This is new information, based on the feedback. So I got an email with questions and concerns yesterday. That were raised by a different department, so I put this together. So so in the center of the lab, with all of the equipment that we have in there running, we are at 83 decibels from the center. So for context, based on Yale data, heavy traffic is louder, a vacuum cleaner is slightly quieter. That's with all equipment running, which is we're never going to have that scenario when we're actually fabricating, because that involves the vacuum pump and the air compressor and everything running simultaneously. At the same time, that lab itself has 2 windows facing the street, and so it's actually fairly loud in there at baseline. So I have the lab inside the room. So the lab background on Saturday traffic. So I ran an average of just Saturday traffic, so that's not even peak time, and we were at 67.4 decibels. So again, that's in between a vacuum cleaner and normal conversation. So the additional volume of noise that we're actually producing, even with all of them coming on, is somewhat negative. I will point out that air fryer, according to Yale, produces more volume of noise than the volume of noise of all of our machines on inside the lab. And there is a salon 2 doors. So just for context, so we're not expecting a huge amount of noise. And then once we're actually looking at the patient room where we have patients involved, the volume is below that of the level of normal conversation and actually below the level of the lab room just with the traffic. So I don't anticipate that we have any problem with noise. I know that there's a statute that says it has to be undetectable without equipment within 200 feet. And I don't see how that's plausible that we would get any noise exposure beyond
Are
that.
you putting a fan system in the space that's getting hectic?
No. So
All gonna be true.
it's all internal, and that's part of the air purification system. So we're running everything through HEPA filters and activating
The heat that you're gonna generate, is that require air conditioning?
we have air conditioning throughout the unit, but we're not expecting any additional air conditioning.
So you don't need it at all, you need air conditioning that.
This is kind of a boutique process, right? It's not a full-fledged manufacturing setup. So we're not running these machines constantly. Our uptime for all machines combined is expected to be about 10% of our business hours. So, the volume is of production is low, and that allows for dissipation of, heat and dust and
Certainly with the traffic going by, there's residents very close.
Yes.
So, the noisiest machine is the vacuum, is what you're saying?
So actually, the noisiest machine that I measured is a vacuum that we're not planning on using there. That's for context. That's a wet dry vac all by itself at the source. So that highlighted item above the source is not.
But the other machines you use, where they make noise?
They do make noise. They make less noise as measured by decibel than
Nice.
including all combined less than that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, let me see first. Anybody here to talk about this application? Anybody online here to talk about this application? Could you read in the record then, Bella's comments?
Yes.
And other
So
comments, probably.
I'm just going to read this time. I think it's actually easier to read it than try to read and then talk. So, zoning board of appeals, memo to the zoning board of appeals from Ella Wise, director of planning and development, dated May 12th, 2026. Review comments, the two proposed medical clinics at 21 Mohawk Trail. Recommendations, if the board is inclined to approve the application, the Department of Planning and Development recommends, 1, inquiring if the zoning code sections 200-6.8 subsection C performance standards may not be met, and if not, establishing conditions of the amount of time and hours of the day when excessive noise and odor is allowed. Summary of special permit applications. 2 special permit applications under separate consideration. One is the application of Niagara Services LLC for property located at 21 Mohawk Trail, Unit 18, assessed map 4D9, Lot 26, which is located in the Central Commercial CC zoning district for special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.7 and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for a lactation clinic for nursing parents. The application of max mobility for property located at the same exact location pursuant to sections 200-4.7 and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for a prosthetic and orthotic clinic for people with disabilities. The zoning district, 21 Mohawk Trail, is in the Central Commercial CC zoning district. The above referenced parcel is located within the Central Commercial zoning district. Properties surrounding the parcel are also within the Central zoning district. Use. The proposed medical clinic uses are allowed by special permit in the CC zoning district. The lactation clinic expects 5 patients visits per week, resulting in an insignificant increase in vehicular traffic. No other impacts are expected. The prosthetics clinic expects 12 patient visits per week, resulting in an insignificant increase in vehicular traffic. The use also includes fabrication of prosthetic and orthotic devices. For the applicant's materials, no vending is required and machinery is usually running at the sound of a vacuum cleaner. Performance standards per zoning section 200-6.8 subsection C. No sound, noise, vibration, odor, or flashing, except for warning devices, temporary construction or maintenance work, parades, agricultural activities, or other special circumstances shall be observable without instruments in a commercial district more than 200 feet from the boundaries of the originating premises or in any other district more than 40 feet from the boundaries of the originating premises. However, the Board of Appeals may grant a special permit to allow activities not meeting these standards in cases where the board determines that no objectionable conditions will thereby be created for the use of other properties. Particularly loud and or disruptive noises shall be avoided between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. For zoning code section 200-6.8 subsection C, all materials, supplies, and equipment shall be stored in accordance with the fire prevention standards of the National Fire Protection Association and shall be screened from view from public ways or abutting properties. Are you trying to hang something?
Yeah.
The applicant has been provided with these performance standards. Dimensions, parking, and lighting, there are no proposed changes to the exterior of the building or to the site. We then have a memo to the board from the Department of Public Works. This is dated April 29th, 2026, and they have no comment or issues with the proposed project. We also have a letter from Alex Cooley, captain of the fire department, in reference to the lactation clinic. The fire department has the following comments regarding the special permit application above. If the above constitutes a change of use and or occupancy under the building code, all applicable sections of 5.7 CMR 1-00 will apply. Alex also had comments in regards to max mobility. And they said they have the following comments and conditions or questions regarding the special permit application. If the above constitutes a change of use and or occupancy under the building code, all applicable sections of 527 CMR 1-00 will apply. Will the processes occurring on site be compatible with the current fire protection system devices, i.e. will fumes or dust activate detectors in the alarm system? Will the processes generate combustible dust? If so, applicable sections of Chapter 40 dust explosion and fire prevention may apply. What flammable materials will be used and in what quantities? Applicable sections of Chapter 60 hazardous material, Chapter 66 flammable and combustible liquids, Chapter 67 flammable solids, including permits may apply. If convection oven is an industrial oven, total input exceeding 150,000 BTUs per hour, Chapter 51 industrial ovens, including NFPA 86 would apply and a permit would be required. There's also a memo dated April 29th from the DPW regarding max mobility, and they had no comment or issues. And that concludes all of the departments.
I got this from Stephanie after I left the office. I'd like you to read that into the record. Stephanie, you're on. You want to say something or you want me to read your letter into the record?
Yes, I'd like you to read the email for the record. Thank you. Stephanie Duclos, 166 Chapman Street.
Right.
I'm in a butter
Good
to the
evening.
Central Commercial District. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Good evening, David. I am not a legal abutter to the proposed change of use of the office/retail spaces to medical facility uses located at 21 Mohawk Trail in the CC District. I am, however, a legal abutter to the Central Commercial District, by which boundary is extended into the RA District by use of an illegal non-conforming parking area and paved right-of-way, publicly used. My concern too is the extension of medical facilities through use of construction into our central commercial district. Increased traffic, vehicular and pedestrian, demands on parking, accessibility, and neighborhood impact. We have a designated hospital district, yet we continue to allow the expansion of use into commercial space. Is the use another non-taxable entity? How will it affect the tax revenues of the city? As it abuts a state and city highway, 2A and 91 Rotary, and with new construction slated for the bike lane and parallel parking, CBDG grant from Mass DOT, how will it impact the pending and development? If we continue to expand medical/clinical uses into our downtown central commercial district, have we abandoned any hope to bring commercial revenue gained by downtown retail/commercial businesses? Are we setting a precedent by continuing to allow medical uses into our central commercial district? As an abutter to the district, when I purchased my home, I purchased it abutting a retail district, which increased the value of my home. Now I abut a primarily medical and low income or low threshold housing and non-conforming uses that surround my property, all changes of use. The stacked impacts have capped my potential gains in equity and value. A single-family home abutting a vibrant downtown with a half-mile of public transit that hopes to expand to a northern tier rail, my home could have been quite valuable. Now I live surrounded by homeless shelters, medical uses, no threshold housing, POTS factory, dispensaries, warming shelters with high public safety response, and substantial increase in foot traffic surrounding my home. Please consider all factors when determine the expansion of medical uses into our central commercial district. Thank you.
Anything else? Are you a nonprofit or for-profit? For-profit. Okay, anything else you want to say to the group?
Well, I can respond to some of those questions, especially raised by the fire department, if that's.
That would be helpful.
First of all, I do not. No. So first of all, we're talking about alarming. So we have a hardwired alarm system for fire and smoke. That does not respond to dust. However, we have local alarming for VOC, dust of various levels, and vapors. So we will be monitoring air quality and alarming internally. We're also filtering and purifying air within our fabrication space. So will the processes generate combustible dust? So the main process that we're talking about fabricating is a laminate material, which is non-combustible even when ground to dust. So it is basalt-based rather than carbon fiber, which is used generally in prosthetics. Basalt is much kinder to people, lungs, and is fire retardant. And the resin material that we're using is also non-combustible and non-flammable. So when this composite is built up as a dust, there is not a combustible risk for that material. Now, there are some ancillary issues. Sometimes, if we're finishing a material, it can abut another material. So composites can be next to aluminum, for example. And so if you're grinding and you're finishing, it's possible that you can have some negligible grinding of aluminum, which is considered combustible, but not in the quantities that we will ever see. Same thing with plastics. Plastics are cut using roller cutters in our clinic. So we're not, grinding and using, vibrating cutters to cut plastics as a general rule or general process. However, some finishing processes do result in, very negligible amounts of dust being generated, mostly from polyethylene, which then is collected and purified by our systems and monitored by our monitoring system. Modifying of existing devices is a little bit tougher because you never know what you're going to get when someone comes in needing something. So at that point, we're left to work with what the patient has and whoever they got their device. So there is a small potential for other materials to sneak in there as well. We're expecting less than an ounce total per day with that, which even if that's concentrated within a cubic meter, is still well below the combustible threshold for most of our time expected materials. So we do not expect that there's any risk for combustion from anything that would be sold in terms of dust.
Space that way now. I mean,
Yeah, so we are not making any changes to the physical layout of the office. So we do have flammable stock, as we were talking about earlier. So barge, cement, thinner, acetone, alcohols are all considered flammable liquids. We do maintain them and we need to use them in our processes. According to our ABC standards, they are stored in a flammable cabinet, which is there now. That is compliant with OSHA and the National Fire Association standards. The total volume of material that we're expecting to have at any time is under 4 gallons. So it depends on where we are in the cycle. But some of the adhesives come in 1 gallon containers. Most of the materials that we use are household levels, right? So, think of like a glue, container of super glue, something like that, which does not fall outside of expectations in residential areas. And then there's a question about the oven. The oven is well below that threshold. It's a 10 kilowatt, which equates, it's an electric oven, but it equates to about 34,000 BTUs, which doesn't even approach the 15,000 BTUs specified.
Is the space sprinkled?
Is that
Is sprinkled?
It is not. No.
How many people at a time will be in there working?
Well, me.
It's all about your health. Any other questions? That'll close. What we're gonna do is, we have one more matter to work on, and we'll go and talk about the first after. I'll stay, be out and take a break for a couple of minutes, maybe longer, but we will decide this tonight.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
In order to condition the, based on these, we feel we've got adequate response to this to be able to condition this. I mean, we've asked for an explanation, we've given us one. But is that sufficient to say, okay, we've heard from them, you don't need to condition doing something about this?
I think the responses have satisfied those inquiries.
I mean, the fire department saw this application, right?
Yeah, but they're asking questions.
Are they asking? So-
Yeah.
They didn't
Yeah.
recommend any conditions.
Yeah,
So
so
we can
just,
condition the project on compliance with those code sections.
I'm assuming they need to get an occupancy permit to keep into the space.
Yeah.
So in the process of doing that,
The fire department
we
will
can
have to inspect.
condition it so that when they get the occupancy, they get the fire department to check
Yes.
off these. Versus us trying to sift through that. And saying,
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Anything else? All right, so the question for the board is, do we want to deal with the next matter now before we take a break? Or do we want to take a break?
I think you could, I'd like a quick break.
Good break, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For those who are here for the last set of applications, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Let's make it 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, look what you got yourself into.
As much as I try to stay organized, somehow things always.
Oh, I mean, we're overrun tonight.
Becoming a sea.
There's a lot.
5 different things going.
Yeah. I think as long as I keep my paper clip, I have a fighting chance, right?
Right. Yeah, I think it's less important. Yeah, you can synthesize. It's not as transcript.
Hey, looking like a long way. I was only done the first 3, we had always the operations. So it's still considered that yet, I mean, I still got all the button down the street. Ones to do, so looking like a long night. But David usually says, you know, we're gonna, no, David usually says. Okay, I'll let you know how it goes. All right, thanks, bye. So you're like me, you willingly let yourself into this.
Yeah, I know. Whoa. But this time I was looking at that hotel property. I kind of knew where it was, but I don't know if it's.
You know where it is? It's right after 99 on the same side of the street. It's not the one in back.
Well, there's the
Across from the entrance to the
right here.
big white parking lot.
So it's this guy here.
Yeah. Here's the big one.
Yeah.
And this kid,
Right.
this is the Hampton Inn.
Yeah, right, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it really isn't. But nothing there but pavement. Like really.
The laser is like some cold, right? It's great.
Well, I was just wondering if, we should turn the mini split.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, the window might hold, just to get some air moving.
Yeah. Both of them.
You brought up a good point, you probably are something that you, I was wrong to ask this.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't do this.
I apologize.
That's okay. Well, I thought at first it would work, but. This is reading it out.
You know what, I just got a lot. I was called on it.
Cause there's a lot.
But we're not, you can withdraw that. Outside of Bummer.
Yeah.
Sure, that's right. We're also. It's not going to win. It's down.
They won't know what it is.
Everybody here, okay. Please make the meeting, please. Right, so we have single applicant matters before us. For purposes of just getting started, I'm going to have the clerk read all three into the record. And then I'll let the applicant explain what his intentions are. So, Madam Clerk.
Okay, so application of 37 Butternut LLC for property located at 37 Butternut Street, Assessor's Map R06, Lot 28A, which is located in the planned industry PI zoning district for special permit pursuant to sections 200-6.1 and 200-7.4 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for the extension of the pre-existing non-conforming use of earth removal with blasting. Second application is application 37 Butternut LLC for property located at 37 Butternut Street, Assessor's Map R06, Lot 28A, is located in the Rural Residential Zoning District RC for special permit pursuant to sections 200-4, 200-7.4, and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for earth removal. The final application is for application of 33 Butternut. Is that supposed to be 37? Is that a typo? Or is it 33 Butternut?
33.
That's another topic.
Okay, for 33 Butternut LLC for property located at 33 Butternut Street, Assessor's Map R05, Lot 228I, which is located in the planned industrial PI zoning district for special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.12 and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for the storage and sale of fuel.
Sitting on the panel are
Eric Green.
Mark Maloney,
Debbie Jones.
Davidson. The applicant here. What do you have to tell?
So in regards to Ryan Giller, 39 College Highway, the applicant for 37 Butternut, for both the PI and RC zone area, zoning area. I'd like to ask the board if we could respectfully withdraw application without prejudice for both the PI and the RC zone that we applied for as a special permit. I know they're individual. I wrote a letter to the board for such. And
That's the same. Anything else? And
And-
what would you like to do with the story?
the fuel storage, yes. So 33 Butternut, I'd like to continue that to your next ZBA hearing, which is June 14th.
June 11th.
June 11th.
And you'll waive any rights with respect to timelines, right? If we're continuing on your request, so
Yeah.
any timeline would be started until we heard you and our issue.
Correct. We need to get a little bit more data with the fuel storage because of the complexity with state and local regulations that we're working through.
So for everybody here, so as you, I assume you're here for this, an application was made, as you know, and one application was made for the industrial zone property piece, the part of the property to be allowed to continue what it's doing under as a grandfathered use and a request for a special permit for blasting. And then there's another request for the northern section of the property, which is in the residential zone, which does allow special permitting for renewable for the same benefits. And I know a plan was filed showing a large area on the north end that the applicant was asking for consideration, and then a continuing of what's going on in the industrial district. The third application is to store fuel by the shed that's there when we first walk in, and that is being asked to be continued. So what's happened is that the application was reviewed by the Conservation Commission, and a request was made at the last meeting to have the applicant under this application come before the Concom and ask for and provide a notice of intent to give the Concom a chance to speak about especially the wetland issues that might be affected or impacted by this application. And as a result of that, our board stood ready to continue this anyway, because I would like the Concom to weigh in for our perspective, and I think for your perspective, so you all understand just what's really going on out there. But instead, the applicant has asked us now, I'm guessing that they're asking us to allow him to withdraw the whole thing, so he's taking it away. So now we don't have jurisdiction over it. At this stage of a proceeding, the applicant can't just withdraw the application, you have to ask for our permission. So I'm sensing that the applicant will probably come back with another plan. So you all know and be notified of that when it happens. And you'll be welcome to come when we get through the sequences that we need to get through so that we can make a good decision and you can speak clearly and intelligently about what your concerns are. So that's what we're going to do. So the board is going to make 3 motions. 2 will be to allow the withdrawal, and the third will be for continuance. I don't know how you feel. If you feel frustrated that you're here and nothing's happening, I can appreciate that. But on the other hand, by being here, you're indicating to the applicant that you're deeply involved in what's happening. And while I'd like to hear what many of you have to say, I feel like since the application is going to be withdrawn, there's no real direct relevance to what you're going to say, except generally your feelings about what he has already applied for. And since that's not on the table, I don't know if I'm not interested in I don't know if it's proper for me to just have you speak because you feel like you need to speak. So I'm going to take. Go ahead, you have questions?
I have a
Yes,
question.
go ahead.
For the continuance, that's in the same bit.
The continuance is for the heating, the storage of fuel, which is actually on a separate, if any of you have been there, there's a shed as you first drive in on the Butternut. And that shed is used, there's two fuel storage tanks that are there and they're asking for a special permit.
So he is actually asking you to draw permits for blasting.
Yeah, not the application for blasting, which I'm sure is the big one. That's being withdrawn without prejudice, which means that he can come back and have another application asking for the same thing. I'm sensing that it won't be the exact same thing because we're learning from this experience. So, but yes, that's the blasting is and the earth removal.
And yeah, the earth removal.
Right. So that means they have
By
to
the
go all the way
way,
back to the drawing board, file an application. They can go before the Concom with a notice of intent because that doesn't require a special permit application. But coming back again for a special permit will require another application with a map, with an intention, with a request for the uses that they want. And there'll be publication, there'll be notice publication in the paper again, and there'll be a direct notice to people who require notice under the special permit statute. I suspect you'll all let everybody know if you're not technically involved in that, so you will hear again. This is not like we're running out of here with a hearing without you being re-noticed about. I'm gonna take the front. At my discretion, I'm not going to allow anybody to speak. Maybe the process that's good and next public speaker. All right, so can I, does anybody have any questions of the applicant?
Just by the way, it's not just for the storage, it's storage and sale of fuel.
Okay, thank you. Any other?
I don't have anything at this time.
Can I hear a motion? I got a motion when, what's it, allow that to withdraw the application, the motion would be go out, applicant for the application and then read the
Yeah.
notice.
So I make a motion to allow the application of 37 Butternut LLC for property located at 37 Butternut Street. Assessors map R6 lot 28, which is located in the planned industry PI zoning district for special permit pursuant to sections 200-6.1 and 200-7.4 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for the extension of a pre-existing non-conforming use of earth removal with blasting allowed to withdraw their application without prejudice.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, may I please say aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record show it was unanimous. Okay, now for the next application.
I make a motion for application of 37 Butternut LLC for property located at 37 Butternut Street, same assessor's map, which is located at the Rural Residential Zoning District, RC, for special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.2, 200-7.4, and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for earth removal to allow the applicant to withdraw without prejudice.
There a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show it was unanimous. And the next application will be for continuance.
All right.
It will be continuance to our next meeting? Right, okay.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion for the application of 33 Butternut LLC for property located at 33 Butternut Street, assessors map R05, lot 28I, which is located in the planned industrial PI zoning district for special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.12 and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for the storage of stale and fuel to be continued until our next meeting, which is June 11th,
2020.
2026.
And our second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show. Any abstentions? Let the record show it was unanimous. Thank you.
But you were here for the seat. Hey, you made your presence known. That's fun. These things are also.
And
This one.
Insight.
Way to clear a room, yeah. It's a way to clear a room.
I was like, what? They don't want to hear us talk about Christmas? See the reels and no.
I guess.
What they don't know is we give out treats at the end of the meeting.
Oh. The way it works.
That was as good a turnout as we had for the cell tower.
Oh, it's, we're not out of the woods yet.
Oh, I know.
But, just the process is finding, it's working its way through the system, I think. That's good.
Does that mean that the Concom won't actually consider it?
No, they won't.
Oh,
No, the Conservation Commission, we don't have, they have to decide what they're gonna do. If they want to know how far they can go, or where they want to ask for blasting, then they have to go for, they have to file a notice of intent. Let's let the Concom know what they're doing and get an opinion from it. If that opinion, I guess, is terrible, maybe there'll be no application.
Yeah.
But whatever the opinion is, then the application can refer to the Concom's decision, and we will have that information.
Okay, that'll be helpful. Good.
Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions on that one, so.
All right, so let's begin with the deliberations.
Just go a little further down the hallway. Or kick you out, just.
Okay, let's go to the special permit at 21 Coleman Road. Can I hear a motion? Please.
So I just want to make sure I understood, it's good Debbie's question, but that was the right point, which is the concerns that have been raised by the different departments will be addressed before a occupancy permit is issued by the fire department, by the various boards that have a say. Is that right?
That's my understanding.
Okay. So we don't have to go in and say, must conform with fire reg so and so.
No, but what we traditionally do is we make it conditioned upon all the requests by all the different departments that it
Yeah,
becomes,
so
that
we
become
can do
part of
it.
the record.
Right.
I think there's a chicken and egg here. I mean, I guess if they wouldn't have as-built plans ready to go until they get their special permit. So the fire department doesn't know exactly what they're doing, but the fire department can say, you're not going to go any further unless, you might be granted a zoning permit, but as long as the zoning, as the ZBA ties in our conditions, then you can't go any further unless you meet those conditions. Okay, so it's really coming upon us to have the permit have those conditions built in.
Right, but we can do a single generic thing rather than listing all the specific.
In my humble opinion, it's better to, if you think something specific should be in there, you could say including this very specific one. But I think broader is better because then it encompasses like a sentence that says everything that this planning office ever saw in relation to this permit will grab everything versus something very specific. But again, if you want to pay attention to something specific, any of you, please. But that's so including would be the word you put it.
Okay.
Yeah, right, so I need a motion. I need a. I make a motion that we approve the application of David Kinsella for property located at 21 Fullering Road, assessors map 44, lot 2, which is located in the general commercial GC zoning district for a special permit pursuant to sections 200-6.5E and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for a reduction of 3 parking spaces from the required number.
Second.
Subject to the following condition. All right, so who wants to start?
All right, so we want to make sure, you guys presented a plan this evening that you believe addresses the fire captain's concern about, has this plan been submitted to Ella?
Yes.
You have copies of this plan that's
This is
here?
no different than the site plan that was submitted.
I
It's
believe
just
so.
the floor plan that's changed.
What about the number of spaces? You said it went up 1 space.
I think that, I don't know exactly, but when we counted today, we need 1 additional space.
All right, well, let's go. So that 1 additional space that you counted, is it on the, is the miscount something that would also happen reading the plan that we got submitted? Or did you change the plan and therefore that added the
I
1
think
space?
there's a miscount on the plan that was submitted, that's what I believe.
So what was presented this evening is the same
Same as the
plan.
plan.
Because we need to reference the plan you're showing. So if you sent us, if this is the plan we're approving and it's different than what we submitted, then we need you to send that plan in.
We will send it, I'll check it, I'll forward it to Albert, condition of approval.
I think it's important, Mr. Chair. Are there any changes in the drive aisle or any potential changes in the drive aisle between the site plan submitted and this?
Okay, thank you. That's actually a good point.
The fire has, before building permits released, fire has to
Absolutely.
approve, so they can hold it up, you could subject your decision to a building permit.
Thank you. Okay, so we're looking, they're asking, my understanding, but again, is that it already exists as a less than 100% building. There are two less spaces than we would have required today if they were just rehabilitating the place the way it is.
Correct.
So they're asking, so they're changing it by 1 space.
Right. So do we,
So do you feel like, do we all feel like the requirements of those standards that Ella gave us have been provided? Do you think that this measures up, it should be allowed based on the requirements that are in the zone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd like to refer to a memo, and it's excellent that she's doing this because we can get further. You all, go ahead.
I had one more thing. They indicated that they're doing full renovation of the facility. Gradually, mechanical. So that becomes part of the implementation of whatever else is happening with this stuff.
Well, I think the special permit is only us letting them design it. It's very narrow. Us letting them design it with less than the allowable parking spaces.
that's
And the
all.
fire part of it is not anything internal. It's the fire department being able to get around parking.
Right. In terms of ADA.
Yeah.
They're modifying.
Yeah.
ADA. I mean, yeah, put the inside of the fire, but in the process of the renovation, we're getting on the exterior, that's part of getting into the building.
Yes.
ADA compliant.
Yes. But that's not what's in front of us. That's not something that we,
So maybe there's 2 spaces in front that have.
yeah, we could,
Yeah.
yes, by allowing the parking spaces, we will be in effect accepting that design. That's what you're saying. Yes, that is right.
Right. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that design has the ADA.
It's ADA compliant spaces.
Should we add a condition that, any plans implemented to address overparking when at full capacity must stay on the same side of the street? So basically, they could never go, the permits pursuant that they don't tell their employees, oh, just park over Big Y, it's fine, nobody will know.
I don't know if that's enforceable. I would rather say that, and again, I don't know if this is enforceable, but to solve your problem, that the employee, to say it in the employees will suffer first, not the guests. So if there aren't enough parking spaces because they feel like they're 100%, then the employee will have to figure out parking or getting to the site, rather than diminishing the parking lot. I don't know how we can enforce it. I don't know how it would ever come up, but you don't like that?
I'm not sure how staff could enforce that because it feels like there's no material activity that you could observe. You'd have to like ask, you'd have to ask.
Oh, somebody have to,
lawyers.
right, somebody have to complain.
Okay, part of the parking plan was to Uber people.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess my intent here is to, we've asked questions, they've addressed those concerns. How do we turn those questions and answers into conditions? If they're not enforceable and there's really no way for us to do it, do we have any conditions?
Well, I figured we'd get to this point in discussion. The reason we say that every one of these is individualistic and not precedent setting is because every one of these brings its own set of peculiar facts. So I personally am motivated by the fact that it already is 2 spaces down, and it's been out there that way for a long time. And it's not like somebody from the city, upon reviewing this, suddenly got perked up to say, now that I have you in the room, let's solve this 2 parking space problem. You know what I mean? So I'm sensing that this is it's only 3 spaces. It's a business decision by them. It wouldn't look good for them, for Marriott to encourage people to park in the big wide parking lot. I wouldn't go there again. If there isn't enough parking space, then they'll have to internally deal with it by asking employees to Uber. But I think what Ella said, and
So
I think it's out. It's something I want to bring up. But I think the conditions are really nothing.
right, I was gonna say, we have no conditions.
The plot complies with the plan, and we incorporate Ella's memo to the degree, and all the memos that we received to the extent that they're relevant to the permit.
Okay, so there are no conditions.
Is that fair to say?
No.
So it's like a generic, the conditions will be your memo, any other notice of status, any other information like for the fire department. All that is going to be cross-referenced into the decision.
Yep.
And I can edit it for you, but so it's subject to 5 conditions. 1, subject to the relevant portions of your memo. 2, subject to the relevant portions of the fire chief's memo. Anything that's been submitted is that you think is. All right, so those are the 2 conditions, and the plan. It has to be according to this plan. We're right. Okay, so here's the deal. We're relying. This is the plan that's in the record for the special permit. So I'm hoping that. So that's what we're relying on. So if you think it's a miscount and that's still correct, I'm okay with that. If we said 3 rather than 2, so we're solving the problem. But if you submit a different plan, you're going to have to come back with and amend it. Okay. So if you feel comfortable, okay. All right. So then we're going to rely on this plan and all the other plans that he brought in. All right. So everybody feel like they understand the motion? All right. So all in favor of this motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record show it was unanimous. Thank you very much. Welcome, Marriott. Yeah, no, it's sorry. My whole career is spent in Marriott. Okay. Well, it's good to have hotel space, more hotel space in Greenfield. Take care. Okay, the next 2 applications.
Do one at a time, I think.
That, one at a time.
Yeah. I would like to make a motion to approve the application of Nygrosh Services LLC for property located at 21 Mohawk Trail, Unit 18, Assessors Map 49, Lot 26, which is located in the general in the central commercial zoning district for special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.7 and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for lactation clinic for nursing parents.
Wait a second.
With the following conditions. I even thought of that when I started. With the following.
Okay. What to say?
We should probably start with, hours and days of operation.
Yes. What do you suggest?
I had written down operations between 8 and 6 PM. I don't think, given the nature of the business, that it would be, there's any need to limit it on a Sunday or Saturday. That could be up to the person running the clinic.
I think you said from 7 to 6 p.m.
They did that for Max Mobility was 7 to 6. She didn't actually state out, she said regular, Lori said regular business
Oh, okay.
hours, Max said 7 to 6 PM.
He wasn't happy. All right, so,
7 days a week.
is that all right?
Yeah, make sure it's
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
I mean, I would assume she might not want to work Saturdays and Sundays, but I wanted the flexibility.
I don't want somebody.
Because you would have to come back to ask, hey, can I open up on a Saturday morning?
Yeah,
That would
I don't see any problem with it. So, so the hours would be, so it'd be 7 days a week from the normal business hours.
Yeah, I just wrote 8 to 6 PM, but
Yeah, okay.
Well, and a lot of the other businesses will be closed in that center, so.
Do we have to limit it to 6 o'clock?
we don't. I just came up, I made them up.
Sounds a little arbitrary to me. I mean, there's like a UPS store right next to it that I would think is open a little bit. It just doesn't, I would think that it's possible that there could be people who want to come in at 7 after dinner, particularly with like the lactation counseling or whatnot. And I just can't imagine that it's so high volume that we have to have like you have to be closed at 6. Why couldn't we go with 8 and just have a little bit of evening flexibility?
8 to 8?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, there might be an occasional, like, I'm gonna have a support group, and so like,
Yeah.
a few families would come, and it's gonna be after hours because they're working families. And so if I were confined, I would be able to offer that service, and that would be like a free, like, come have a gathering with other nursing parents.
So Martin, you come up with the hours set.
I don't think that, I think what you're hearing from the board is there's not really, we're gonna have a problem. It's a special permit. Much of our duties are to do these kinds of things where we put in days of week and hours. And so, and we're willing to give you a broad, I think what Mark's saying is we're willing to give you a broad range of, so why don't you let us know?
More than you're asking for.
More than you're asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't you submit?
I think the 8 AM to 8 PM is great.
Is 8 o'clock, but it's two businesses within the same place. I know we're trying to treat them separately, but is there also just a reality that the conditions make sense to be the same across the board? I would say like 7 to 8.
No.
I would say 7 in the morning till 8 at night.
Each one is seven.
Then I would say 7 in the morning till 8 at night twice.
You only say once. So which one, how do you feel about this one?
I would say 7 in the morning till 8 at night.
I don't think there's anything else. How's
I appreciate that this year on the finishing system with her.
Yes. So we'll incorporate the application, the representations in the application. And incorporate the conditions, again, an Ella's memo relating to this particular property. This use, and then we'll relate, the other, the fire department, especially because Lewis has concerns about that. You'll comply, yours is more intense, but you'll comply with any of the requirements that the fire department imposes upon.
The other thing that's something he was saying, he doesn't have to say. Is that they're using this as is. The modifications that they're making to her office space. So changes of ventilation.
No modifications.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, I don't, again, why is that,
modification before that?
why is that? I mean, they're not making modifications to the shape of it. I mean,
No.
right.
No,
Okay. I don't want to trap you in that you can't make any modifications, but it sounds like your representation is no material alterations or changes to the premise. That's your representation.
I'm only saying that because of the notion issues or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, I see, because we're allowing it based on the floor plan. Okay, fair enough. So it's based on the floor plan that we submit,
Yes.
the floor plan and site plan.
For this, for this, for this.
Yeah, well, I guess we're gonna vote on this one first.
Does anyone have any other conditions they would like to discuss?
No. So I'd like to, just for purpose, I'd like to address what Stephanie said, because it relates to both. I think there's a distinction between the hospital coming downtown as a big nonprofit, taking over spaces to use for medical facilities or medical use. And I know that one of the reasons for having a special permit in the downtown was just so that that wouldn't happen. And so it's a case-by-case situation. So I appreciate Stephanie's concerns about that. I appreciate generally the public's concerns about that. But I don't see that here. I see this as two businesses that happen to be in the medical field that are coming in and asking for permission for use that's consistent with the general commercial, central commercial, and because it's medical is not, to me, the focus of my decision. But you have to go through, you have to apply for a special permit, so we could make this determination. Yes, that's my.
And she did raise the issue of setting precedent. And I believe we put a nail clinic in right across the street, I mean, nail clinic right across the street from this.
Again, there are no precedents.
No precedents.
Someone could use so if we allowed 7 things of the same kind to happen, and then we didn't allow the 8th, it wouldn't be that we set precedent, that would be the argument. The argument would be that we're being arbitrary to this one, because this one is similar to the other 7 that we did. So there can't really be a reason why we didn't allow this one over this one. But if we're careful and thoughtful as we are, and we mention in each of our decisions why this decision works under these circumstances, then the fact that we've allowed this one and the one across the street does not mean that the next one that comes in, we won't look at differently and say that no, or we'll condition it differently. So there's nothing.
No precedent.
No precedent. That's not the word to use. Like I said, you can use it in the context I just used it, but it's not an argument.
Right. They could say we've got a pattern that we're following, perhaps.
Well, it's evidence of it being arbitrary. That's what it's evidence of. But it's not necessarily, we don't have to do it because we did it, and we can do it without worrying whether we have to do it again. But keep asking, that's fine. It reminds us of it. So are we all set? We have, so hearing nothing else, nothing further, all in favor of allowing the permit with the conditions as raised, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show it was unanimous. You have yours. Now go to the next.
Guess I'm making a lot of motions today. All right. So I would like to make a motion to approve the application of Max Mobility for property located at 21 Mohawk Trail, Assessors Map 49, Lot 26, which is located in the Central Commercial CC zoning district for special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.7 and 200-8.3 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for a prosthetic and orthotic clinic for people with disabilities, with subject to the following conditions.
All right, let's talk about this one. Again, I don't have any problems with the medical piece of it. I do have a little bit, I just need to flesh out that machines are being used here in commercial space rather than manufacturing space. But anybody else have any concerns?
Actually, I do not. And just as a arbitrary thing, I actually watched the how it's made type video on these being manufactured. I would like to say it's because of this. It's just happening that most of the things I watch, I can't own that. So I have some concept of what they're doing and, you know, as I said, this is not a large manufacturing process. They are making one unique thing at a time. And they're not going to be running running a lot. And the machines, even in the video, were not very loud. So,
Are there any conditions that you might impose?
yes, well, I got the hours of operation to be the 7 to 6 Monday. We doing 7 to 8?
I asked for 7 to 8, and that's what we did before. I think just
Something that you would
consistency is
like
nice.
well, or doesn't
Yeah,
matter?
I mean, I don't expect to be open all the time during those hours, but it may be the case that I'll need to use the space after, patients have left for preparation. So I would appreciate it.
Any other conditions?
Is that the same thing, though?
What?
Well, Max being in the building doing work is a little different than accessing the building is a little different than a patient coming into the building. Like, do we?
I wouldn't split hairs that finely on it.
I mean, you're saying like, could he come in at 2 o'clock in the morning and do his work? What's the difference?
Well, I guess I'm saying, can he be there at 8:30 at night? And what's the difference? I don't know about 2 in the morning, but I just.
Well, I think our jurisdiction is to protect others. So we're not protecting him by limiting him, we're protecting others. So maybe there's nobody to protect because the clients, the clients come and say, I need this work, they leave, and then you do the work, and then they come back and you fit them, right?
It depends on exactly what we're doing. If we're talking about fabrication, that's the case. If we're talking about modification to existing devices, sometimes that's going to be a type of patient there.
But you don't have like a waiting room of people waiting for you to come in and, I don't, unless there's some other municipal concern, like the police might be worried that somebody's there at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't.
Yeah,
You know,
because
that-
we're
that's
talking
fine.
about hours.
It just kind of struck my thinking of like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know we were discussing whether or not these folks could be in the building.
No,
after
I didn't-
certain- I thought we were talking about operation.
We are doing
Hours.
hours of operation, 7 to
Yeah.
8. And
That's all.
what
I
time he goes
asked
home
for.
is his
Yeah,
business.
Right.
That's the part.
Yeah, so I would ask for 7 to 8 again.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we've got that.
Fine.
And I guess my other condition would be that, that the machines, make no more noise than is represented by this
Yeah.
submittal today.
Okay.
And if we find that they do exceed this, then the permits are good.
So I would have a comment on that, but that is the best I can do right now. That is not in operation every day. So it is possible that there might be peaks above that. I can't test that without being open and honest.
Yeah, and
That is an
I,
accurate representation of what I can do right now. That's not.
right, and I appreciate your transparency on this, on how you obtain this information. But we need some place to start, and I think this is a good one. If you're making so much noise that these numbers would not even be close. I think if you make that much more noise that somebody's going to complain, and then I get the impression if somebody did say something to you, hey, that's pretty loud, you would come up with a solution and we would not have to address it again. And it is something that they can enforce if need be.
I asked them, well, in here, there's a list of equipment that's going to be used. Collection of an air compressor, impact tools, vacuum pumps, grinder. And when I asked the question, all of this stuff is self-contained in the. There's going to be no modifications to the ventilation system going to the exterior.
Correct.
So.
You want that in as a, okay.
But if there will need to be a modification to get additional ventilation modified, is that at any point in your future, be indicating what, increase the business or? Because that's where the noise will occur. If you have a fan system sticking through the roof, the neighbors will hear that versus having this stuff in the room, that's going on, so.
So why don't we make sure that we condition this permit on what's being proposed? So you're allowed to do this as long as you follow all the things that you proposed in both your application and your testimony tonight.
The only reason I would need to do external venting is if that was somehow required by temperature zoning. It's not required. for-
Right, so what Peter's saying that if somebody walked in and said you had to do that, that would violate the special permit. So you'd have to come back and ask permission. You'd say, you might be stuck between a rock and a hard place, but you'd have to come back for permission.
And I haven't talked with the building inspector at this point about this project at all. I did go over and speak with the building department. They did not have concerns as far as development. With the, I checked with the clerk and building or leasing or maybe.
I've also submitted all the plans to the building inspector and he had no further
Okay,
comments.
because what I'm saying is that based on what you're putting in there, the existing mechanical systems are sufficient to run this. And if it isn't, then we have to come back for a special permit to put in a new exhaust fan or some ventilation equipment. Because there is, again, looking at this probably not, but these are up right across the street.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. That's a good point. That it has to, that the reason we're saying yes is because it's internal. Okay. Yeah. Oh, very good. Thank you. Anything else?
We said 7 days a week as a, when
Yeah.
conditioning the first one. So this one speaks about being open to patients 3 days a week.
Yeah, but he can do whatever, if we give, whatever we give him, he can work with it the timeline.
Well, I guess I'm kind of wondering if we're saying that it has to be according to this plan, could we make note of the 3 days a week and just say it can be open any 7 days a week?
Yes.
I just want to not be so stuck to this that he's locked into.
No, that's good. That's good. Thank you.
I apologize. I was reading while Peter said his piece about this. So can you just sum up so I can make a little note?
Well, based on the list of equipment that they listed here, there's no need to provide any modifications to the HVAC equipment that's there. All this stuff will be in the room. There's no need to do anything with mechanical systems, no conditioning changes, no ventilation changes. That's all been approved by the town. If they were to need something, then they'd have to come back with a special permit for modifications to the ventilation system. I just, here's my big arrow.
No, I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I
wouldn't.
didn't catch enough of it to figure out how I was gonna write
He
this.
just doesn't want a repeat of the noise situation that we had out on.
Yes, which is an excellent thing. Thank you very much.
Been there, done that, right? We would, shame on us on that one.
We're not gonna be blasting.
That's always moving. And just ask them that we can.
But you're all set, you're all
This
set.
all achievable.
Yes.
Anything else?
How much?
Kelly, you got all that or?
Mhm.
That's good. Okay. Hearing nothing else, all in favor of the motion with the conditions that we discussed, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Let the record show it's unanimous.
I'll make a motion to conclude the meeting.
Can I hear a motion to adjourn? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show it's very unanimous.
That was unanimous, it could have been if it was done.